In this video I want to speak about getting my stomach tattooed, my experience with it, and my experience with a particular numbing cream that I used. So I got my stomach done the other day up in Essex by Nicky Latt, and I'm really happy with how it's turned out. It's basically a old Dan Higgs design. Sorry, the lighting's not great. Try and focus that. And it's smack dead on the middle of my stomach, nice and flabby. Currently working on trying to lose all of that. But yeah, so I'm really happy with how it turned out. I couldn't be happier, really. From the day that I met Nicky for my first tattoo that I had done by him, even before then I saw the flash on his Instagram, and I always wanted it, but I didn't quite know where it would look good. Originally I wanted something on my throat, and then I sort of talked myself out of it. I don't really want to touch this area, at least not until I'm covered everywhere else. And then I thought about getting on the chest, and finally I decided on getting it on the stomach because of the shape of the bat. I think a smaller piece here and a big piece up here would look better than a small piece here with more small pieces around it. So that's how I decided on that. And sorry if I'm huffing and puffing, it's really hot in here. I'm going to have to open the window. Yeah, so that's how I came to the decision to get that tattoo. And it was horrible. I'll be honest with you, it was a horrible experience. It's by far the most painful tattoo I've had to date. In terms of sitting it, I think the most painful, in terms of pain that lasted only a couple of seconds, but it was still bloody painful, was my ditch, and my fingers. They were disgusting, but the stomach was just disgusting the whole time, basically. And if it wasn't thanks to the numbing cream that I used, I might not have been able to sit through the whole thing. The main part of this video really is just talking about this particular numbing cream that I've used. Also, just a few precautions that you should take if you do decide to use it. So I used this numbing cream called TKTX, and it claims to deep numb. This is the yellow. Sorry, this doesn't focus. I'm on my phone as always. But this is the yellow, and this is the on the official website. This is their strongest cream, apparently. I know you can get different colours elsewhere. Personally, wasn't willing to take the risk. Thought that I'd go with the best one that they say is the best one on their website, and it worked a dream for the most part. So basically, before I say anything about this cream, let me just explain a little bit about my journey to finding this cream. I found out because I'm someone who is very paranoid about trying new medications, and I've done a heap of research on this cream, and a lot of people have had very bad reactions to it. And it turns out that there are a lot of fakes out there that claim to be TKTX cream, and actually they're not. They're made in another country, unsafely. People have very bad reactions to them, and sometimes end up in hospital. And actually that can even happen with the official cream as well, from what I've read. But the reasons for that are simple. It's just you have an allergy to the cream. I opted to go with the cream off the official website, and I didn't have any issues at all. And the way I tested it was by doing what anyone should do and do a patch test. I've done 2 patch tests just to make sure I wasn't allergic to it. The first patch test I done was a very small amount, and then the second one was a few days after that, and I've done a bigger amount sort of on my stomach, and didn't get any reaction at all. Just got a bit of redness where the cream was obviously working. And this cream is very different to the other creams in which it actually, I think it does something with the blood flow to the skin, and my god, does it work. So yeah, applying this cream was very simple. I think, sorry to jump forward a little bit, yeah, if you're going to get this cream, make sure that you get the official stuff, and make sure you patch test it for allergies as well, because you never know if you're allergic to it. You could have quite a severe reaction if you put enough on, so it's always worth just patch testing it. And the way I've done that is just a small amount, put the cling film over, left it for an hour, took it off, and yeah, worked really well. Got a little needle, sort of poked it really lightly, didn't feel anything, and it was like the tiniest bit red, and that's how I knew that it was okay for me. So anyway, the way I applied it was when I was on my way to Nicky, because he's almost 3 hours away. When I was about 40 minutes away from the appointment, I went into the service station, lifted my shirt up, and basically, made sure it was nice and dry. And then I had markings where I sort of wanted the tattoo, so I drew some lines with like a pen, and I just dolloped pretty much the whole bottle on there. It's got to be pretty thick, and rubbed it in, and it kind of smelled a bit funny, but rubbed it all in, and then wrapped myself around with cling film to keep it in, and yeah, drove up there. Obviously, washed my hands, drove up there. On the way there, I was a little bit concerned because it started to tingle a little bit, started to feel really cold, but that's just the cream working its lidocaine. I'm guessing it's supposed to sort of feel like that. It didn't hurt at all, just tingling, like a prickling feeling. But then, yeah, basically when I got there, that feeling had just dispersed, and there was like a feeling of nothingness there. And then, yeah, so we, basically got there and left the wrap on for a further 20 minutes or so while we got everything ready, because Nicky wanted to make sure that the moment we took that off, we got straight on tattooing it. So we took that off after about an hour and 20 minutes, and I couldn't feel anything there at all. It was really red, not severely red, but it was red from where you could tell the cream had been. Not like an allergic reaction red, but again where the sort of blood flow had sort of slowed down, I think, and the cream was obviously working. So took it off, got straight to tattooing, laid down, and for the whole of the line work, I didn't feel anything. I think there was like maybe twice where I felt like a little like that, but it wasn't a painful feeling. It was just like, so if you just carefully run your fingernail over your hand or something, it's not a feeling of pain, it's just literally a feeling of like you can actually feel something. But for 99% of the line work, I felt literally nothing. It was the weirdest thing ever, and it blew me away. I wasn't expecting that. But didn't even really feel any of the pressure of Nicky's hand for the most part. And I think that just obviously is why they say deep numbs, where it says it sort of numbs very deep on there, because even pressure, I couldn't feel anything. So if you guys are, looking to do something like this, I would 100% recommend it in a spot like the stomach. I don't feel like I would have sat the whole thing if I hadn't have used this stuff, because genuinely, I'm not just saying it, I felt absolutely nothing. And it was just mind blowing. I was actually blown away. I was just saying to Nicky, I was like, what the fuck, man, that is crazy. Like, you can't feel anything. Now, when he got onto the shading, it's a different story. I did start to feel something when he was doing the shading. I don't know why. I don't know if it was just because, the line work, there was quite a lot of line work in there. But yeah, getting the shading done. When he started doing the shading, it was probably maybe an hour and a half into the tattoo. Then I did start to feel something, but it wasn't too bad. When he done the black, it did start to hurt a little bit, but it wasn't too bad. But by the end of the black, the pain really started coming in, and that was maybe 2 hours, maybe 2.5 hours after I applied the cream. It started to hurt, and I was ready to basically just say, Nicky, and I even said, I don't think I can sit this. I think we need to come back for another session. This is starting to hurt. And then everyone else in the shop basically just convinced me, not to, because there's a 99% chance that on my way home I'd regret not finishing it, which was 100% true. I've got to say thanks to Oliver and the other dude that was in the shop, and Shen, for basically just telling me to sit through it. And they basically just said, if you sit through the pain, you'd be very surprised by how much you can actually tolerate. Tolerate is a very strong word, because when we got to doing the colour, it was actually disgusting. I don't think I've ever felt pain like that in my life, and by then it was pretty obvious that basically all of the cream had worn off. And that was only after 2.5 hours. So, not the 3 to 5 hours that the cream claims. It only took about 2.5 hours for the cream to wear off for me. And I'll be honest with you, with the colour from there onward, and I mean, we started on the green, so that's like the bulk of the sort of colour on the tattoo. Yeah, it was disgusting. I was pretty much screaming every time that he put the needle down, and that's not even an exaggeration. I was audibly in pain. It was like the worst pain that I've ever experienced when it comes to a tattoo. And actually, I'd liken it to the pain of dislocating my knee, because when I dislocated my knee, I felt really, really sick because of how bad the pain was. And that's pretty much how bad the pain was on the stomach. That being said, yes, it hurt a lot, but I have heard that when you use numbing cream, when it does wear off, the pain is 5 times worse than what it would have been. So maybe that was something to do with it. But yeah, I mean, me personally, I couldn't sit still. At some points, the pain was so much that I was actually laughing because I couldn't believe how fucking painful it was. So yeah, I mean, after even just the green, my whole back was sweating on the bed. It was horrible. It was really horrible. And I actually sweat so much that I've now got a heat rash on my back. Whether that's because it was painful and I was sweating out the pain, I don't know. Maybe it's because it was hot in the studio. But I was genuinely in disbelief by how much it hurt. After we done the green, we moved on to the red, and yeah, I mean, I bet it's probably a good idea to like tell you guys where it hurt the most. So for me, where it hurt the most was like up here on the sternum, or basically it's pretty much on the sternum. It's just below the sternum. That was agony. That was fucking horrible. Down here near the belly button is absolutely disgusting. Basically, just everywhere around here. I mean, to be honest, the whole tattoo was horrible, but the main parts that hurt the most were there, sort of around the sides. Definitely like here, near the ribs. That was horrible. But mainly around the sides of the tattoo. The middle wasn't awful, but it was still pretty nasty. It's definitely more painful than any of the tattoos that I've had done before. Even the sort of hands and stuff. The hands were literally nothing compared to that. I mean, everyone says that hands are horrible, but for me, the hands weren't too bad. I mean, I remember the pain of the hands, and it really wasn't that bad. It definitely hurt, but I think it's because where it's a limb, it's not as like mentally intrusive than, for example, the stomach, where you're breathing and it's sort of like there, isn't it? It's not like far away from your body. It's like right there. You can't really get away from it. But I would liken the pain, when it did hurt at its most, on the stomach. I would probably say it was a 9 out of 10, and I'd probably liken the hands to like a 6.5, 7 out of 10. My least painful tattoo probably being, I don't know, it's kind of hard to say. I'd say my least painful tattoo is probably like this one here. The outer forearm really isn't that bad. That's probably like a 3 or a 4. The stomach, I would say, was about a 9 out of 10. It was disgusting. I don't ever want to experience it again. That being said, I have got my nipples booked in, or I'm booking my nipples in with Oliver, and I'm 100% going to be using that cream, and I will be making a video on that as well, speaking about how painful that experience was. But yeah, obviously, that being said, with the type of work that I do get done, I do get traditional work done. Traditional is obviously known for solid, bold colours. There's a lot more colour packing involved in traditional, meaning the artist is going to have to go maybe a little bit deeper, maybe put a bit more ink in there than, for example, some grey wash or some black and grey, that sort of thing, where there's variations of shades and that sort of thing. I mean, as you guys can see with my tattoo, it is 100% solid colour and shading. There is barely any shading in there that is whipped out. Basically, the whole thing is just solid colour, and that is, from my experience, going to hurt a lot more than something that has different variations of shading. That being said, it's still a really nasty area to get tattooed in. If you're looking to get tattooed there and you want to not use cream, then fair play, give it a go. I'd say that maybe if you did not use cream, and were planning to sit the whole thing, you may be better off than me, just because you can become accustomed to the pain. With the numbing cream, that took the sting out of the line work. Now, that being said, if you're looking to do it in multiple sessions, honestly use this stuff, or try a different numbing cream or whatever. I would seriously recommend this stuff if you're looking to maybe just do the lines and then do the shading another session. If you really don't want to if you don't want to feel anything at all, literally nothing, not even like a tickle or anything, split it up into multiple sessions and use this shit, because this works. You know, when I was watching YouTube videos on this stuff, I was thinking, you know, yeah, maybe it'll somewhat work, but no, I didn't feel anything with this stuff at all. It's like magic. Whether other numbing creams out there are the same, I can't comment. I haven't used them, but for me, this stuff really worked. I've seen a lot of reviews on it. Everyone else seems to say that it works when they've applied it properly, when they've done a proper patch test, when they've actually, you know, used it as a medical product rather than just thought, oh, okay, I'm just going to slap this cream on and hope it works. You've got to be seriously careful with this stuff. You know, you don't really know what's in it, and doing a patch test and taking care of yourself and just being a little bit careful about using anything in terms of medication stuff's normally a good idea anyway. So I mean, some of the posts that I've seen out there of people getting massive rashes and all this stuff, you know, they say, oh yeah, but I've used it from the same supplier before and all this. Okay, well, you know, it doesn't take 5 minutes to patch test every tube that you get every time you use it, right? To make sure that you're not allergic to that particular tube or to that particular batch, or you know, maybe you got hold of a fake. I don't know, but you know, at least if you do patch test a tube of the stuff every time you get it, just put a little bit on for maybe a few days before and check for allergic reactions, and then you know that you can use that specific tube. That's better than, you know, just basically thinking, okay, well, I ordered from these guys before, I'll just order the same again and it'll be fine. You've got to be really careful at the end of the day, because you don't know what's in it. I don't think anyone really knows what's in it. And you know, yeah, you can read on the ingredients on the side of it, but you know, you don't know what those ingredients are. You know, there's a very high percentage of a chance that you don't know what prilicaine is, or epinephrine, or you know, lidocaine. You probably don't know what it actually is, right? So sorry to go on a rant there, but I just think that it's very important to know what you're putting on your body at the end of the day. Okay, so that's pretty much the whole video. I hope that you enjoyed it. I just thought that I'd be honest about this, because there's not a lot of people, I didn't find a lot of informational videos on the stomach tattoos in terms of how much it's going to hurt, etc. I have heard that it hurts maybe a little bit less for girls. I've heard that girls have a better pain tolerance. You know, I can't say for sure, but that's what I've heard. Moral of the story is, for me, it was horrible. And, you know, if my artist was a bit closer by, maybe I would have broken it up into different sessions. But in the end, at the end of the day, I did manage to sit through it. You know, it did really, really suck. Every single time he put the needle down when he was doing the colour, I was screaming in pain and at some points laughing, because it did hurt that much. Yeah, I think it just goes to show that, yeah, the torso does suck. I'm going to obviously make a video when I get my nipples done to speak about the pain of that. I am definitely going to be using this stuff, because there's no way in hell that I'm going to sit that. I've got very sensitive area around here. There's no way in hell that I'm going to be able to sit through line work or even shading without that cream. So yeah, thanks very much for watching this video, guys. I hope that you learned a thing or two. Hope you enjoyed it. And until next time, I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.